Everybody. Good evening. My name is Nancy Lindborg. I'm the president of the United States Institute of Peace, and it is my great pleasure and honor to welcome everybody here tonight. And I also want to express my thanks to the members of the U.S. Commission on the International Religious Freedom for convening a very special event in support of the Ministerial to advance religious freedom. Thank you for all of you who have braved the rain. Thank you to all of you for doing this important work. I'd like to give a special welcome to a longtime hero of mine, Congressman Wolf. We have Rabbi Saperstein with us. We will have Ambassador Brownback and a host of other guests, and of course a very special welcome to all the Commission leadership who are here tonight, including Executive Director Aaron Singsingsuk. Where's Aaron? I have to give Aaron a special welcome because she's formerly a member of the USIP family and helped build this building. So thank you, Aaron. And we're delighted to be joined here tonight by a number of members of Congress, people from the White House, members of the diplomatic community, and of course many, many members of the faith community. And tonight we celebrate the 20th anniversary of the International Religious Freedom Act. Of course, as all of you are well aware, this is the act that enshrined into law America's commitment to promoting and defending religious liberty around the world. For those of you who haven't been here before, U.S. Institute of Peace was founded in 1984 by Congress as an independent, national, nonpartisan institute dedicated to the proposition that peace is possible, that peace is very practical, and peace is essential for our U.S. and global security. And so we work with partners on the front lines of conflict around the world, providing people, institutions, and governments with the kind of practical tools and approaches that enable them to manage conflict and to resolve conflict when it turns violent. So we know from both conviction and experience that religious freedom is a vital component of a true sustained peace, which is why it's a core part of our work. In fact, one of our oldest programs here at USIP focuses on the role of faith leaders, like many of you, who are working for peace around the world. Our religion program, through the efforts of my former colleague David Little, actually helped advise on the passage and implementation of the International Religious Freedom Act 20 years ago. And so since then, we've supported religious peace builders who are working in conflict zones, often with great courage, to bridge divide and to advocate for the political and social inclusion of religious minorities around the world, especially in places like Iraq, Afghanistan, Burma, Sudan, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan. Because we see what happens too often when people are divided and excluded on the basis of religion, whether in Burma, where we've seen the Rohingya terrorized and driven from their homes, or in Iraq, where I was just recently and had a chance to meet with Shabak Christian and Yazidi leaders who are fighting to rebuild their lives after the brutal occupation of ISIS. Religious freedom is vital for a sustained peace. So it's a cause very near and dear to our hearts. We are therefore honored to host all of you for this week's Ministerial, for this reception while you're here for this week's Ministerial. I salute your work, and I salute your leadership on this critical issue. And with that, I would like to invite a powerful and tireless advocate for both women's rights and religious freedom to come to the podium, the Vice Chair of USCIRF, Cristina Arriaga. Please join me in welcoming Cristina.
Thank you very much. My name is Cristina Arriaga. I'm the Vice Chairwoman of the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom. So I love the young people at USCIRF because they actually wrote, acknowledge administrative officials, members of Congress, and members of the Diplomatic Corps and representatives of civil society by name. Well, I'm sorry. At my age, I call my son by my dog's name on a regular basis. So the staff should not think that I would remember everyone's name. But I will acknowledge a few people who are here. First of all, my fellow commissioners. Nadine Maenza, if you could wave. Johnny Moore. There we go. Andy Kawaja. Gail Mention. Gary Bauer. Did I get everyone, Aaron? Tony Perkins. I knew I was going to forget something. I'm sorry. We are 9 commissioners from both parties, from all over the United States, from all faith traditions, and we get together because we focus with laser-like intensity on religious freedom. Who said bipartisanship was dead in Washington, D.C.? It isn't. Our mission at USCIRF is to elevate religious freedom and make sure that it's protected according to universal standards. We report on a number of countries all over the world. We're different from State Department. State Department has a big job to report on 190 countries. We're nimbler, we're better looking than State Department. This was to make sure you were paying attention. And our report is smaller. We make recommendations to the State Department, to Congress, and to the White House on measures that should be taken for religious freedom. Now, I know I'm probably the only thing standing between you and getting an hors d'oeuvre. So before you do that, and by the way, we're not allowed to pay for alcohol. It's not that we were trying to be cheap. You can have a drink afterwards at the other reception. So I would like to recognize the members of the International Panel of Parliamentarians for Freedom of Religion or Belief. They have the longest and worst title of any organization. I hear they're going to change soon, but their work is really important. They're parliamentarians from all over the world that get together to focus on religious freedom. Here we have Abid Raja, David Anderson, I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce your last name, Asia, and Kwang Kwa. Okay. These are members of the steering committee, and they're going to come up to say a few words. Oh. It's just going to be Abid, who has much better hair than I do, so take pictures now. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's actually a very long walk for me up to this stage. My parents, they're immigrants from Pakistan, and they went to Oslo, Norway. So I was born in Norway. And I stand here in front of you as the Vice President of the Norwegian Parliament. It's a long walk for many of us. And I stand here alongside with my colleagues from Canada, from South Africa, from Pakistan. We also have a previous member of Parliament here with us from Myanmar. He's Rohingya, but he's stripped from his citizenship. He's had to leave his country because he's not entitled to be a Burmese citizen anymore. So we have to acknowledge there's a lot of parliamentarians around the globe who also are persecuted, and Shwe is one of them who are not allowed to go back to his own country. We started up this initiative 4 years ago, and this is a story I have to share with you, because I got a call, and it was Knox Thames. Have you anybody heard about Knox Thames? Oh. You heard about him? Yes, okay. He was working at USCIRF at that time. What he did was he tried to find parliamentarians around the globe who were working for freedom of religion in their capacity in their own parliaments. He found 5, 6 of us. He called us and he brought us together. And he said, hey, all of you guys are actually working on freedom of religion at your own capacity, in your own way, in your own country. Why don't you sit together and see, if you have something in common? So what we did 4 years ago, we committed in Oslo, we signed a charter at the Nobel Peace Center saying we're going to start a global movement among parliamentarians. And now, just 4 years later, we are standing here and we have representation in over 70 countries. Parliamentarians in 70 countries. And we are now a force of 300 parliamentarians, legislators around the world who say we're both going to work on legislation, we're going to work on the budget, and we're going to push our governments to make changes around the world. And I would like to acknowledge that without USCIRF and the help that Knox Thames and USCIRF did at that time, I'm sure this network would not have existed. I would also like, yes, and I think it's important that all of you support the work that USCIRF are doing, because it's so important that we continue to have USCIRF strengthened in that position they have. We need them in the years to come. And I would also like to take the opportunity to thank the administration that are doing this initiative on freedom of religion, both yesterday, today, and the Ministerial they're going to be having tomorrow. All 300 parliamentarians from the 70 countries, we stand behind this initiative, which is a very positive initiative indeed. Now, some countries have already been mentioned. Iran has been mentioned. Myanmar has been mentioned, China has been mentioned. Is an election in Pakistan. They're just counting the votes over there, and probably Imran Khan will be the winner of the election. And I think we need to acknowledge that there are some problems in Pakistan when it comes to freedom of religion. And one thing what he's already said is that he wants to strengthen the laws of blasphemy. And what we know about Pakistan is that they have very, very, very bad laws when it comes to blasphemy. Oh, Ambassador Saperstein, so good to see you. He was with us actually when we started up, so thank you very much. So we need to acknowledge there's a lot of other countries what bad things are happening in, and actually 75% of the world's population are living in those countries. So acknowledging that, acknowledging the good work of USCIRF, the Knox Thames, all the commissioners, I will say that standing together, strengthening ourselves, together with US congressmen and senators, I think we, the good guys, could actually bring a change to the world. So thank you for inviting us, and thank you for the good work USCIRF are doing.
You do have better hair. You do have better hair. None of this would be possible without the imagination, creativity, and chutzpah of one man. A person who saw that religious freedom was being treated like the poor little sister of the human rights family, and made sure that 20 years ago, the legislation that created both the U.S. Ambassador at Large for Religious Freedom Office and USCIRF was created. It is my honor to introduce Frank Wolf. Mr. Wolf.
Well, thank you very much. I want to thank USCIRF and for all the work that they've done and for this event. I also want to thank the U.S. Institute for Peace. This was the idea of really former Senator Stevens from Alaska, who put a lot of effort into this. We used the U.S. Institute for Peace for the Iraq Study Group, the Baker Hamilton Commission, so I want to thank them for the good work that they've done. President Reagan said that the words in the Constitution and the words in the Declaration of Independence were a covenant, not only with the people in Philadelphia in 1776 and 1787 when the Constitution was ratified, but a covenant with the entire world, a covenant with Sister Diana, the Iraqi nun in Nineveh Plains, a covenant with the Yazidi woman who has been captured and taken away from her family, a covenant with Asia Bibi, who languishes in a prison somewhere in Pakistan, a covenant with the people, the Coptic Christians in Egypt, a covenant with the Rohingya, where genocide is now taking place. And so Reagan's words really were sort of the inspiration for this idea. So I want to thank all the people, and with what has taken place with the Ministerial, I think can really be the difference. My other job was to, and I don't know if he's here or not, was to introduce Ambassador Brownback. So I'm going to do that whether he's here or not to tell you. Ambassador Brownback was a member of the United States Congress in the House of Representatives that I served with. Senator Brownback was a United States Senator and had been involved in all of these many issues, and then went on to be governor from Kansas. He was the first member of the Senate, perhaps the only member of the Senate, who went to Darfur during the genocide. I happened to be with Ambassador Brownback on that trip. When I watched Ambassador Brownback engage, we were in a little village where the Janjaweed were riding around with armed weapons. We went into a little village and we interviewed 2 young Muslim girls who had been assaulted by the Janjaweed. Watching Ambassador Brownback, so basically to have him in this position, with Secretary Pompeo and Administrator Green, I think is almost like Esther for such a time like this. So I know that the ambassador may not be here, but we have a great person following in the footsteps of David Saperstein, who also did a great job. And the opportunity whereby the Trump-Pence administration will advocate for all people, for Christian, for Muslim, for Yazidi, for all backgrounds, I think can take place. So I want to thank the administration. I want to thank Secretary Pompeo. I want to thank Ambassador Brownback for this ministerial. And thank you for being here tonight. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you and good evening. I'm Gail Manchin, one of the 9 commissioners for USCIRF, standing before you very new and very proud. As I look around the room, what I want to say to each and every one of you on behalf of all of the commissioners and the staff of USCIRF, thank you. Thank you for what you do each and every day to enhance and protect and promote religious freedom and beliefs around this world. It is an important job and one that we cannot take lightly nor slow down our efforts. The ministerial that is taking place right now here in Washington can be so impactful in sharing with us what is happening, what we can do, what we have done, what we are doing now, and what we can do in the future. And I hope that each and every one of you that are here today, as you leave, will take with you ideas and new ways of thinking and new ways of that you have made connections, people that you can reconnect with and carry on the work after you leave here. We've had the opportunity to look people in the eye and shake hands and forge friendships. So I hope that what each of us takes away from here is that we are each one of the tools in the toolbox. And we have to continue to work very hard to be a massive toolbox. And if there is a tool in there that we don't have, then we need to find it or create it, or look out there and figure out how we can work with all of these areas. That we need to reinvigorate the work that we are doing with our current allies, and again, continue to grow our allies and the people that we work with. Because we know that this truly is the one nonpartisan issue that can unite people all over the world. And we need to keep advocating, keep sharing our voices, keep reminding everyone the importance of the value of human life, of human rights, of the freedom to believe and express our beliefs without fear of discrimination or terror. So again, thank you to each and every one of you. Look around you. If there is someone that you haven't met yet, introduce yourself, share your information, but carry home with you the very, very, very proud knowledge that every day your work is making life better for individuals all around this world. Thank you so much. Continue to enjoy. And I will tell you that Ambassador Brownback is going to be here, hopefully right before 7, so please continue to enjoy, and he will see you as soon as possible. Thank you.